Welcome to the Amnayalife Podcast. Today we will talk about the perfectionism trap that kept one English learner silent for years and how she finally escaped. I'm your host, Jack Smith, and I'm here with Huang Pei Yu, who has an incredible story to share about her English learning journey. Pei Yu, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I'm really glad to be here and share my experience.
Here's something I want to put right on the table. There's this silent epidemic. So many English learners are afraid to speak, not because they don't know enough words, but because they're terrified of making mistakes. But what if trying to be perfect actually blocks real progress?
Oh, it really does. For years, I wouldn't say a single word in English unless I was 100% sure it was correct. Even simple sentences, if I thought there was a chance of a grammar mistake, I just stayed silent. In school, I always got high test scores, but when it came to real conversation, I froze every time.
That's so familiar. I noticed that students with the strongest test results often struggle the most with this kind of perfectionism. It's like the pressure to never be wrong takes away any freedom to just try.
Yes, my teachers praised me for accuracy, but it planted this fear I was terrified others would hear an error and think less of me. So, instead of getting practice, I became an expert at avoiding risk.
I see this pattern every day in Taiwan. The education system rewards correctness and right answers. But in conversation, real-life English is messy, and nobody speaks perfectly.
Exactly. But I didn't know that for a long time. I thought every sentence needed to be flawless. So, I kept quiet and missed lots of opportunities socially and professionally.
The core message I hope listeners hear today is this. Perfectionism is not the same as proficiency. Wanting to always be right kills progress. What really matters is embracing the messy, awkward, trial and error process, even if it feels scary at first.
I wish I learned that sooner. Being perfect kept me silent for years. It's so important for others to hear that perfectionism is not a strength in language learning, it's a trap.
You'll hear from Pei Yu's story today how letting go of perfection is the key to real, confident English and to unlocking new opportunities. Before we dive deeper into Pei Yu's story, I want to let you know, if you're struggling with the same challenges we're talking about today, there's a free class I've created that breaks down the real reasons blocking your English fluency. You can find the link in the episode description. It's going to show you exactly how to remove these blocks. Okay, Pei Yu, let's get into your story.
Sounds good, Jack. If I think back, it really started in high school. I was always the model student. Perfect scores. Always had the right answer. My parents bragged about my English to everyone. In college, it became worse. I passed every exam, but in our English conversation class, I couldn't say anything. My teacher would ask, "Who wants to try?" And every time, my hand stayed down. My heart raced, and I worried, if I say the wrong thing, will everyone laugh at me?
That's what stands out. The pressure isn't just internal, but from family and school, too. Everyone expects the top student to speak perfectly, so you become terrified to risk looking human.
It felt like I was wearing a mask. Inside, I wanted to try, but I felt their eyes on me. My mouth would dry up, and the words in my head vanished. Friends would joke, "Wow, you're so smart. Your English is perfect, right?" That made it worse.
What's interesting is how this outside praise actually creates a prison. You end up performing for others, not learning for yourself. The fear of losing your reputation becomes bigger than wanting connection.
Yes. The moment I sensed doubt or criticism, real or imagined, I shut down. Even in simple daily life, like ordering coffee in English, I'd rehearse the sentence in my mind 100 times. If I couldn't get it right, I'd just whisper or even walk away.
That's a common pattern. The internal dialogue isn't, "What can I learn?" but, "How can I avoid mistakes?" You become more anxious, not less.
My harshest critic was always myself. "Don't risk it. Wait until you're better," I'd tell myself. But of course, that day never came. Each time I stayed silent, I felt like a failure and promised to do better next time but nothing changed.
What I see underneath that is a fear not of English, but of being visible, of being exposed as less than perfect. That's why the avoidance gets worse, not better.
Absolutely. The real fear was, what if I'm not who everyone thinks I am? I thought, I'm just faking it. The first mistake will show the truth.
Here's the thing, everyone feels that way at some point. But the longer the silence, the deeper the fear grows. What made it start to break for you?
The turning point came at my first job. We had to make weekly presentations in English to an international partner. The first time, I panicked and told my boss I was sick, but the third week, I ran out of excuses. My boss said gently, "Pei Yu, it doesn't have to be perfect. They just want to understand you." I realized waiting for perfect meant missing every opportunity.
That's so powerful when your environment sends the message, imperfect is enough. Suddenly there's space to breathe.
Yes, it was like a light switch. In that moment, I thought, what if I just tried, even with mistakes? The next meeting, my hands were shaking, but I spoke. I made grammar errors, forgot words, but people answered my questions. Nobody laughed. In fact, they seemed relieved.
I see this all the time. When you show up human, people connect more, not less. It's actually courage, not perfection, that earns respect.
Exactly. I felt a freedom I never had before. The old fear didn't disappear, but it got smaller after that first step. After that, I started making different choices. I forced myself into situations where perfection was impossible, like talking with international colleagues, joining English-speaking clubs, even sending emails without checking them 5 times. If I made a mistake, I told myself, now you're learning, not hiding. I also started journaling about my fears, and it helped me spot when the voice of perfectionism was getting loud again.
That's effective because action breaks the cycle of anxiety, while journaling brings self-awareness to the pattern itself.
Yes, the first few weeks were so uncomfortable. I stuttered and sometimes switched to Chinese when I was nervous. But each small victory, a meeting finished. A joke I made in English built my confidence a little bit more.
It's about doing the scary thing in small doses, over and over. That's how rewiring happens, not by waiting for confidence first. Looking at your story, the real issue wasn't a lack of skill. It was an inner critic enforcing impossible standards. That pressure made you believe mistakes were proof of weakness instead of evidence of trying.
Yes, exactly. My success in school became a burden outside the classroom. Once I realized progress is about consistency, not flawlessness, everything changed.
In Taiwan, I find students are praised for never making mistakes, but conversation rewards bravery. The cultural transition is tough.
For sure. My parents still want me to be the best, but now I focus on growth, not gold stars. I'm willing to be a beginner again and again.
The mindset shift is from hide what's not perfect to share, learn, laugh, repeat. That's not easy, but it's the real secret.
Yes, I remind myself every mistake is data, not drama. That lets me relax and enjoy English again. If I were facing these fears again, I'd tell my younger self, try everything and expect to sound weird sometimes. I'd seek out practice, not just praise.
That's the shift confidence from action, not from waiting to be ready.
Exactly. Now, if I mess up, I know it's a win because I showed up.
So many listeners feel trapped in this cycle. It's never about not being good enough, it's about being brave enough to be real.
Yes, to everyone listening, it's never too late to start being imperfect on purpose.
The hardest part is changing beliefs, not grammar. But every time you show up, you change the story.
My advice: start today, speak up, and celebrate tiny progress. One tip that helped me: I practiced messy speaking every day. I'd record myself talking for 2 minutes in English, no stopping, no correcting. I listened back and noticed the world didn't end.
That's brilliant because it breaks the muscle memory of self-censoring and gets you comfortable hearing your own voice.
Yes, and soon words flowed more easily. I realized I could learn from every recording.
You're creating safety for your brain around making mistakes.
My second tip is to find a mistake-friendly community, even just one friend you can make ugly sentences with, who cheers you on. It makes such a difference.
Absolutely. Safe partners lower your anxiety and help you practice in the real world.
The more I shared, the less scary it felt. I even started group chats for Practice Not Perfect English.
You created an environment where growth was allowed, not judged.
My third tip, set imperfection goals. For example, aim to make 5 mistakes in a meeting. If I did, it meant I was actually speaking.
That's perfect progress measured by action, not outcome.
And usually, nobody noticed or remembered my mistakes except me.
Exactly, the world cares about your ideas, not your grammar. Peiyu, you're a living example that progress begins when we drop the shield of perfectionism. Your courage to speak up, mistakes and all, is what truly inspires others.
Thank you, Jack. I hope everyone listening knows they don't have to wait to be perfect. There's freedom in trying, in learning, and even messing up together.
That's the heart of it. If you choose progress over perfection, you'll discover a whole new world of possibility in English and beyond.
My wish, let's build a community where vulnerability matters more than flawless sentences.
If you dare to speak bravely, even with mistakes, you'll grow faster and enjoy the journey so much more.
Give yourself permission now. Progress starts with your first imperfect sentence.
Peiyu, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story with us. I know our listeners are going to find so much value in what you've shared.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I hope my experience helps someone out there.
I'm sure it will. And to everyone listening, if you want to discover the real reasons that are blocking you from speaking English fluently, click the link in this episode to watch a free class that will show you how to remove these blocks.